Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another FIFA 21 video where today we've got something a little bit different. We're going to be talking today about why you keep losing in FIFA 21. Now this happens to me as well, but so I just want to share some of my experiences and just some of the reasons as to why you might be losing in FIFA 21 and hopefully some fixes for that. So in the background you'll be able to just see some of my FUT Champs gameplay. I know a couple of you guys asked to see our gameplay and just to see how we do. We had a decent weekend, but not great. We'll get into that as the video progresses. But starting off with the first thing as to why you keep losing is something that I experienced, and you might have seen the post we put up on our community tab yesterday. It's your emotions. It is emotions. You have to keep those emotions in check. And before we talk about the emotions and what you need to do, the first thing is you've got to understand is if you can't keep your emotions in check, you can watch all the tutorials, you can have the team, you can have everything, you can practice, you can do everything. But if it comes to that point where you just lose it, all that practice, all the team, nothing can mask over that. You've got to keep a lid on your emotions. And a bit of background for anyone who didn't see the post on our community tab. Basically, I was playing FUT Champs last night, doing pretty decent. Obviously, I said in yesterday's video I was 15-1, was going about quite nicely. And I just had a few games where I just lost, man. And whether or not I deserve them or not, you know, it's kind of by the by. It doesn't really matter. I don't think I deserve to lose the games, but you know that happens in FIFA, and that's what you've got to accept. But I just, man, got so angry, and I'm somebody who's very, you know, I'm always pretty level-headed character, you know, 99% of the time. But when I get angry, man, I just lose it, and that is the biggest thing that will prevent you from winning more games in FIFA. If you just cannot keep those emotions in check, because you know, I'm watching my games back this morning, you know, whilst editing some of these clips, and just I just saw the mistakes that I was making, and they were rookie mistakes. But that's because you're playing angry, you're playing frustrated. And one thing that, you know, helps and did help me a little bit, because I did take a break, and it does help, man. It definitely helps. You know, I played a game, lost. I then did the Cardinals thing. I just went straight back into another game, lost that one as well. As I said, you know, before, if you lose one, you got to take a break, because, you know, and it's not like 5 minutes, you know, take half an hour, get away from your screen, just go on your phone, you know, just go and spend a bit of time with your family or your girlfriend or whoever it may be, you know, just go away from your screen for half an hour. I came back and I reeled off 4 wins, and I'm sat on 20-4 now, and that's probably where I'm going to finish. But that kind of just shows where my weekend went. I was 15-1 and it just collapsed to 20-4, which is just very, very disappointing on my behalf. I've got to do much better than that. And that just starts with, you've got to control those emotions, because as I saw in my post, and as I put, I just said, man, you've just, like, there's so much more important things going on in the world. I just do not need to be raging at FIFA 20. And it's not about then going, oh, FIFA 21's bad, let's just not play it. No, it's not about that. It's then about being able to just put a lid on it and just remember that there's more important things going on. Now, it's not about just sitting there and being a monk either when you're playing and just going, I just scored a goal, and then just sit there in silence. Oh, I just conceded, and then just have a straight face. Like, it's not about showing no emotion, but it's about knowing where the limits are, you know, about knowing when too much rage is too much. You know, one thing that I've never done and never will do, I've never broke a controller, a headset, you know, punched a wall or whatever it may be. If you're getting to the point where you're breaking things, man, you shouldn't be playing this game, full stop. Like, you should never ever get to the point where you're breaking things. That is just beyond FIFA rage. That is something a bit more serious potentially. But you've just got to keep those emotions in check, because if you don't, it hinders your performances going forward. You're constantly then thinking back about the games you've lost, and you can't get those games back. You know, you've got to just go, you know what, I took that L. You can get a bit frustrated, but just, you've got to find that balance of, you can show your emotions, but not to the point where it's detrimental to you, and not just detrimental to you, but potentially people around you, you know, your family, your kids, your girlfriend, your wife, whoever it may be. You know, you've got to keep a lid on it and remember that there are more important things to go about, because at the end of the day, like I said at the beginning of the video, all the team, the coaching, the practice just completely goes out the window. And I'm a prime example of that. You know, I was 15-1 and cruising, doing well, let my emotions get the best of me. I then collapsed to about 16-4, and then I recovered it to 20-4. And I could potentially go on and get sort of 23, 24 if I wanted to. But I think just it's also important to know when to stop. And I think I'm just going to stop at that 20-4 mark and just reset and just look at my games. And that's just, you know, trades us quite nicely into the next point. And if you do have the opportunity, record your games, because one thing that helps me out massively, you know, obviously I get to do a lot of a lot of editing of these videos and stuff for the tutorials or formation bids or whatever it is that we make. I get the ability to watch my games back, and that is so important, because being able to watch your games back just allows you to just see so clearly the mistakes that you make. And it's then knowing, once you know what your mistakes are, you then know how to fix them. You know what you need to look for. If you're somebody who is like, maybe you're constantly diving into tackles, you know where you need to look for, you know maybe what videos you need to go and look for from potential YouTubers, and then you know what to practice. And that, you know, again, transitions us nicely into the next bit, which is practicing smart. You've got to practice clever. You know, when you go and play, and this is something that I'm very good at when I do it, I just don't do it as often as I should. Now, again, I have, you know, FIFA's not everything, you know, obviously I do YouTube, and I'm very proud and privileged that I do what I do, but you have other things outside of YouTube that do take up your time as well. And I don't probably get to play FIFA as much as I want. I'm sure there's a lot of people watching this can say the same thing, that maybe they don't get to play it too often. But when you do get the opportunity to practice, don't just go into rivals and just play. Now, if you want to do that, you can absolutely do that. Everyone's allowed to do what they want. But if you're someone who's really set on trying to improve in FIFA, go in with a goal, you know, and that's where recording your games really comes in handy. Because if you know that maybe you're finishing really badly, maybe you want to practice a low driven shot on how to use low drivens better, or a certain skill move, you then know when you go to play in rivals, for example, you're going to be, one, playing against good opposition, which is always handy, but number two, you're going in with a purpose, and then just forget about the result. You know, if you go and get beat 3-0, just go, I don't really care about the result. I'm here to practice this skill move, or this bit of defending, or I'm here to test out this tactic, or whatever it may be. But when you do go and practice smart. That's something that helped me out a lot, you know, when I was looking to try and improve at certain skill moves and add a few skill moves to my repertoire. You know, I'm a super competitive person anyway, so I would always, even if I was trying to like practice a certain skill move, I would then just try and think, I just want to get the win as well, though. But it doesn't. At the end of the day, the win doesn't matter. You're there to practice with a purpose, and practicing with a purpose will help. And that comes from identifying where your errors are, and that's where recording your games massively helps. And there's a lot of things that come into becoming a better player. But when we talked about losing more games, it's going to be those emotions. It's going to be you not knowing where your mistakes are, because you'll just keep making the same ones because you haven't identified where it is. And tactics, instructions, team, they do play a part. You know, my team is a decent team, but it's not a full meta squad. You know, I would struggle at the top end of FIFA, you know, playing Elite 1 players and that, because they will have the super meta players, and it's going to limit you. If you're not going to build the meta, you are going to be limited. And it sucks that is the way it is, but that's just the way that FIFA is. And like I said, you know, having a certain team, having certain tactics, they play a part, but they are not going to be, if you're someone who's sat maybe on 15 wins and go, I feel like I should be maybe on 18 or 19, just tweaking a tactic here or there, just getting rid of that player for that player, they're not going to make massive differences. The reason why you're going to be losing games is you're going to be making fundamental errors and emotions. And I can speak from experience, because I still do it as well. Like I said, I'm somebody who likes to provide information to you guys, and a lot of you guys, I know a lot of you guys love our videos and take great inspiration and information from it as well. And that's great, but I'm still learning as well. I'm learning along with you guys, and that's really important to kind of have that humility to go, yes, I'm a YouTuber. Yes, I'm very privileged to do what I do, but I'm not the finished article as well. I have many things that I need to work on to become a better player and a better person and all those things as well, you know, because like I said, you know, me getting angry at FIFA and all of us guys getting angry at FIFA, you know, we're allowed to show emotions. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, absolutely okay. You know, whether it's negative emotions because you get a bit frustrated, or positive emotions because you're super happy, or whatever it may be, you're allowed to show those emotions, but there's a limit where it should not cross, and that's where all of us need to improve. Myself, everybody in this community needs to improve, because it's it's not worth getting that angry, and potentially you don't know how that's going to have a knock-on effect, like I said, on your family, on your kids, on your girlfriend, on your wife, on your parents, whoever that may be. You don't know how it's going to affect them. So we need to do a better job, and hopefully you found some useful information in this video, because you know, it was a really fun video to kind of just talk, because we don't get to kind of do these videos too often. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this and did take some really good information from it, and hopefully learn something, and maybe you can take something away that will improve your game. So if you did enjoy the content, you'd like to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It will be much appreciated. Make sure you drop a thumbs up as well. That does help us out massively. Follow us on Twitter and Twitch if you do have any other questions you'd like to ask. But that is all today, guys. Have an awesome day. I'm out.